So yet another clip of Mahomes throwing a behind-the-back pass was shared, and it got me thinking about this year being the year it could actually happen. And in this video, I want to take a look at why it could maybe possibly go down, Xavier Worthy signing his rookie deal, the Chiefs continuing to have a very affordable wide receiver room, and more. But first, how about those? All right, first up, the Chiefs shared a clip of Mahomes hitting wideout Hollywood Brown deep down the left sideline for a pretty nice gain. The deep ball is coming back, so let's freaking go. And they shared this in honor of Hollywood Brown's birthday yesterday. He's now 27 years young and ready to go all out in KC's dynamic offense this season. My only qualm with the video that the Chiefs content team shared is it is still not the one-handed diving touchdown that Hollywood made earlier on in OTAs. He actually hopped in a live stream of mine a couple weeks ago to chat, and he asked for the release of this one-handed diving touchdown grab, and the content team still needs to make that happen. Yet sadly, even for his birthday, they couldn't get it done, which tells me they most likely don't have that on camera. So boo. However, the Chiefs content team did entertain us with another behind-the-back pass from Mahomes to UDFA running back Carson Steele, who reeled it in with a one-handed grab as he turned upfield. And when I see this recent clip combined with previous clips from Mahomes that are behind-the-back passes, such as the time he hit the crossbar back at training camp, another one to Skyy Moore last year, I think there was another one, I can't find it, but it was to CEH, and then recently, Call of Duty legend Scump was seen playing catch with Patrick Mahomes, and he threw a dime. Mahomes threw a dime to Scump behind his back. It was like 20, 30 plus yards right into his arms. So you know, with all those clips being combined over the years, Mahomes is only getting better. So my question is, will this year be the year the Chiefs make this happen? Mahomes throws a behind-the-back pass in an actual game. It'll probably only happen if the Chiefs are up by like 21 points in the fourth quarter right before they pull Mahomes from the game. But part of me at the same time doesn't think Andy Reid would ever allow it. It's a bit of a showboating thing, but shoot, I don't think he technically allows all of Kelsey's wild laterals, and as long as the pass works out, I think it would be fine in his eyes maybe once. From here, we got to talk about the state of Kansas still doing all they can in an attempt to lure the Chiefs to the Kansas side of Kansas City after the lease expires in 2031. According to a recent article from the KC Star, after Jackson County voters rejected a county sales tax for the teams in April, a Kansas proposal would authorize sales tax and revenue star bonds with 30-year terms to pay up to 100% of the cost of building a new stadium across the state line. Representative Sean Tarwater, a Stillwell Republican, first offered the plan in the final days of the regular session, but lawmakers didn't vote on it. This session was a few weeks ago. However, it looks like the plan could be considered here in a couple of weeks. The plan, for what it's worth, has drawn some criticism, with stadium finance experts warning that no stadium project like this could generate enough revenue to pay for an entirely bonded project. And while I won't bore you with the complexities of star bonds, I'll just say this. Kansas really wants the Chiefs and the Royals, if they can swing it, on their side of the state line, and are going to attempt to do all they can to try and make something happen. Meanwhile, Missouri still has the Chiefs and Royals under lease for like 7-ish more years, so they still have time to get something longer term done with the teams. Now, Clark Hunt did say, I believe at the end of April after the initial vote failed, he said this, quote, "I really think at this point it makes sense for both of us to work independently." And he's talking about the Chiefs and the Royals working independently from each other on the next vote that happens, if they can work something out for the public to be able to vote on in Jackson County. And honestly, that is probably the best path forward for the Chiefs. I really think the Royals were one of the main reasons why the stadium tax vote didn't pass, and keeping them separate is at least going to increase the chances of a vote passing in the future for the Chiefs. Thankfully, we have plenty of time to worry about that. Next up, though, as of yesterday, 18 first-round picks in the 2024 NFL Draft were still unsigned to their rookie deals, with Xavier Worthy being one of them. However, as of today, that is June 5th, that changed at least for the Chiefs. Field Yates reported that KC and Worthy agreed to his rookie deal, with it being a 4-year, $13.79 million fully guaranteed contract. That's all rookie deals. That obviously also comes with a 5th-year option since he was a first-round pick. The deal also includes a $6.849 million signing bonus. Then, according to Spotrac, it looks like this year's cap hit, 2024, is going to be $2.5 million. Then the following years look like this: 3.1, 3.7, 4.3, and then I'm not yet sure what the 5th-year option will be if the Chiefs pick it up, but it's going to be considerably higher than any of these previous years. Here's something else that's crazy to think about. KC's top 3 receivers, Brown, Rice, and Worthy, combined for just $12.1 million against the cap this season. That's basically peanuts, especially when you consider MVS was about to make $14 million this year before KC cut him to save 12 of that 14. I believe it was 14. That's off the top of my head. And cutting MVS was no real surprise, but I think I was more surprised that he ended up signing with the Buffalo Bills of all teams. Not because the Bills are a bad team or anything like that, even though Josh Allen loses to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs for his literal job, but more because the Bills saw MVS's very underwhelming 2023 season and said, yeah, sure, we'll trade away Stephon Diggs and let Gabe Davis walk in free agency, then just draft Keon Coleman and sign MVS and call it a day. But hey, enough about that impoverished team, because even crazier yet, when you look at the Chiefs wide receiver room, specifically at all 6 of the wide receivers that are most likely making the 53-man roster, the total cap hit of all 6 are around $19.3 million, which almost seems like an error. Of course, Justin Ross or Nico Remigio could end up earning a spot over maybe Skyy Moore or Kadarius Toney, and they would be even cheaper. And all of this is made possible because Travis Kelce is, from a production standpoint, basically wide receiver 1. I talked about him much more in yesterday's video here, and his production, it's absolutely insane. But even as wide receiver 1, I know he's a tight end, but from a production standpoint, he's only making $17 million a year. So if you even add up Travis Kelce's $17 million, plus the 6 other receivers that you saw on screen there. That's Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Justin Watson, Skyy Moore, Kadarius Toney. That's still only a total of $36.2 million, roughly $1.6 million less than Justin Jefferson's APY on his new deal. However, if you want to be technical about this, his new deal averages out to be $17 million a year, but his actual cap hits back-to-back years are $19.5 and $19.8 million. So add about $2.5 million more onto that total, and there you go. Still, hell of a deal. One day down the road, this may not be as realistic for the Chiefs, mainly when Kelce leaves and they got to pay somebody to be their wide receiver 1. But if they opt to keep drafting rookies early and signing free agents to 1-year prove-it deals, this is a trend that could continue for the Chiefs, and this is something that is very different that they're doing, at least compared to most of the rest of the league. Part of the reason for that is because you have some very large cap hits in the future, like Mahomes, Chris Jones, Joe Thuney, Jawan Taylor, and Travis Kelce next year. With hits like that, you have to do your best to stay young and cheap via the draft, and thankfully, Brett Veach and company continue to draft very well. However, I don't know if this is always the model for success, considering the fact that Mahomes nearly lost his damn mind last year when the Chiefs' cost-effective wide receiver room outside of MVS, who was making like $11 million that year to run wind sprints. Sure, they ended up winning the Super Bowl, but definitely had to get carried there by their defense. I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how you win, as long as you're able to win. I just think one day the Chiefs will probably have to invest more money into their pass catchers, but at least for right now, they are set with one of the most affordable rooms in the league, and I would venture to say this wide receiver room, on paper at least, early, I know it's early, but this looks to be one of the best the team has had in quite some time. Hollywood is a definite upgrade to nearly anyone on the roster last year, maybe outside of Rice, though I still think he's more versatile than Rice. Then, of course, Rice is back and Xavier Worthy is now here. Worthy is an upgrade from MVS in nearly every way, and the hope is those trades translate from college to the pros, even though Worthy is still technically unproven as a rookie. And as long as Rashee Rice isn't suspended for all of eternity, probably won't be, he is definitely going to take a step up in year 2. That means when you put all this together, the Chiefs have a real shot at being a dynamic offense once again with the deep ball and chasing that ever-elusive three-peat. But with all that being said, how do you guys feel overall about the Chiefs wide receiver room now that Worthy is officially locked in? Are you happy with how things are, even with Rice's suspension looming? Or do you think KC should still bring in a cheap veteran like McCole Hardman or maybe Hunter Renfrow to raise the floor of the room? Neither of those guys are going to cost much, though if the Chiefs did add to the room, in my opinion, it probably won't be until later when they see how Rice's situation plays out or how the room looks overall at training camp. So yeah, let me know your thoughts either way on that in the comments down below. Anyway, that was a long rabbit trail, but if we get back to where this all started, Xavier Worthy signing his rookie contract, that means all 7 of the Chiefs draft picks are now officially signed to their rookie deals. Back on May 21st, Kingsley Suamataia signed his 4-year deal, and Worthy was the last guy remaining, and now it is all done and all good just before the start of mandatory minicamp next week. There was never really any concern here that a deal would not get done, but sometimes the early round picks, especially first rounders, they just take longer to negotiate since more money is involved. Anyway, with all that being said, I'll be back tomorrow after Andy Reid and select players speak to the media and the local beat reporters get, I believe, a media look during practice. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?